And first at 5, new video just into the newsroom. It shows just how quickly a Beaverton apartment building went up in flames. Look at that. This quickly turned into a 2-alarm fire, damaging 4 units, and now 10 people are without a home. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm David Molko.
Wow, that video is just incredible. And I'm Laurel Porter. Joe Ranieri joins us from Beaverton, where crews are still trying to determine what started this fire. And Joe, witnesses say this is really incredible that the flames were so hot, the front door actually melted.
Well, David and Laurel, when firefighters got out here last night at the Menlo Park Apartments here in Beaverton, they tell me that the flames were going about as high as that second level of that unit. Now, it was these 2 units on the end that suffered the most damage, but thankfully nobody was hurt. Now, the fire started at around 8:30 last night, and it quickly turned into a 2-alarm fire as the flames started to spread to 3 other units. A total of 4 units were damaged, and 10 people from the different units were displaced. The Red Cross was out here last night working with the families to find temporary housing. Crews were putting out hot spots when they discovered something on the front porch, and once they cleared some debris from a cage, they discovered the family's pet.
We were able to round up the bunny inside the cage and then brought it over to one of the gals in the family to reunite the bunny with her, and she was very happy.
And that bunny was okay. And again, everyone that was out here in these units last night was able to get out safely. As you can see from the backyard out here, still lots of burned debris and what used to be people's personal property out here. And fire crews are still trying to determine what led up to this fire out here last night. In Beaverton, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Well, I hope those displaced families get a lot of support, and we're so glad they all got out safely. Thank you, Joe. A vote tomorrow will decide if a Yamhill County commissioner will keep her job. Galen Etlin joins us now from McMinnville. And Galen, this is the second recent recall effort like this one for that area.
That's exactly right, Laurel. We followed that recent recall effort against 2 Newburgh school board members very recently, and that one did not pass. Now, this latest one, however, is against County Commissioner Lindsay Burschauer. A group called Save Yamhill County claims her policies have favored self-interest and her donors rather than people of the county. They say this has cost the county millions of dollars, too. Now, one example that's contested is a trail project that she blocked, saying it would infringe on farmers' land rights and would potentially connect transit to the Portland area, which she argues voters here do not want. But recall advocates say it's much deeper than that. Now, you're going to hear from Erin Chen with Save Yamhill County first, then Commissioner Burschauer's response.
She wasn't representing the needs of Yamhill County. She wasn't representing the needs of the people who lived here.
When I ran, I was very clear about what my principles were and what my policy stances were.
Obviously, there's thousands of people that voted for you, and now there's thousands of people who are pushing for this recall. What common ground do you think that you can find to bridge that gap?
As long as we can find a way to work together without compromising on values. My purpose was not self-interested. It wasn't self-motivated.
Over the last few months, the debate has gotten heated. Both sides say they've received attacks or threats.
Posting the home address of our recall PAC director, Lynette Shaw, on her Facebook and telling people, go give her a piece of your mind. She has since received threatening letters at that address, death threats.
None of it's good, right? That we don't want to have that level of discourse. We should be able to have healthy political debates and be able to agree to disagree. So it's not something I support, but it does go both ways. And I will respond and I will stand up for myself.
Save Yamhill County says it's represented by independents, liberals, and conservatives alike. But Commissioner Burschauer, who is conservative, says this is a progressive push to get her out of office. Now, ballots are due tomorrow. People can mail them or they can drop them off at a box like the one behind me. Back to you.
Galen Etlin and McMinnville there. Thank you very much, Galen. Well, we've talked a lot about kids going back to school in person this year, so we thought it was time to check in on how things are going for students who choose to stay virtual. So we reached out to Salem Keizer Public Schools, whose EDGE online learning program is in its second year. Administrators say it's not the same as the distance learning so many parents remember from early in the pandemic, because now there are lots of live instruction opportunities. And this is really interesting. While a number of public school districts expect a drop in in-person enrollment next year, the EDGE program actually doesn't anticipate the same.
And we're seeing about the same number of students that are saying, hey, we're going to go back to in-person next year. That is about the same number of families that are saying, hey, we'd like to come to online next year.
Salem, Keizer, and Beaverton schools already had plans to develop an online option for students before the pandemic, but they plan to keep it around long term now. Portland Public also plans to keep the option available next year. By the way, registration in Salem, Keizer, and Beaverton, that's already open for next school year, and Portland plans to open theirs in May.
With the increase in gun violence throughout the area, the city of Gresham is taking a new approach to helping young people avoid the violence. Bryant Clerkley spoke to the people in charge of this new effort today. And Bryant, they got quite a bit of federal money to start this program.
That's right, Laurel. Gresham City Hall approved the $2 million grant from the American Rescue Plan Act late last year. Much of that money will be spent on activities and resources for young people, so they'll hopefully stay out of trouble.
There's definitely been a spike in gun violence, a spike in shootings, and we understand with COVID this past 2 years, they've had no services.
Marcel Frazier is the Youth Violence Prevention Coordinator with the City of Gresham. The role is new, and part of Frazier's job is investing the $2 million grant money into community-based organizations to provide services for young people. The goal is to keep them out of trouble.
We just want to provide them positivity, something to do, and really to occupy their time. Because right now, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, those are dangerous times for our youth. So our community-based organizations, they've been around some as long as 20, 30 years. They've already been doing great work. Now they have funding to come do some of that great work in Gresham.
Youth Services Manager Iman Gassemi says they will largely focus on events and activities.
Our first program actually will be starting here in April, and that's going to be nighttime basketball. And that'll be at H.B. Lee Middle School. And it'll be focused for our middle and high school students. That will just kind of give them an outlet for Friday evenings.
The division is still in its planning stages. They're also working on internship programs young people can participate in. Gassemi says they will continue to speak with the community to get feedback on what other services they can provide.
When they're young, maybe 10, 11 years old, get them into programs that will occupy their time all the way till they're 18. Which will hopefully lead them into a productive life.
There will be more activities and events to come. You can check the Gresham City website for more info. And the grant for the violence prevention program will last until June 2023. There is a chance it could be extended.
Thank you, Bryant. To the war in Ukraine now, the Ukrainian government is refusing to give in to Russian demands of surrender in a strategic port town. Russian forces have been relentlessly assaulting the city of Mariupol. Russia wants Ukraine to hand it over in exchange for safe passage for trapped civilians. Ukraine is staying defiant.
There is no negotiation, there is no trust, there is no belief in Putin's goodwill. We can only fight and get what we need.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has hailed those who are fighting, saying, quote, resistance for Ukrainians is part of their soul. And tonight on NBC Nightly News, it's the stories of survivors resisting the siege in Mariupol.
The city has been cut off without food, water, or electricity for almost a month now. Now, in an emotional interview, NBC's Gabe Gutierrez spoke with a resident who made it out, but says the screams of her neighbors now haunt her.
What will you miss most about your home?
People's lives, the lives of people who died.
A staggering toll. A look inside the tactics and terror within Mariupol that's coming up on NBC Nightly News at 5:30, along with complete coverage of the day's developments out of Ukraine.